Hey, good morning. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Spiritual Scientist. I'm Victor. Thanks for checking me out. I'm driving to work, obviously, again today, and I keep saying that. But this is going to be, I don't know, this is going to be probably the craziest episode I've ever made. I don't know. Maybe I should just sometimes I'm like, should I say all this? It just sounds so crazy even when I think about it in a way. And I'm like, oh no, it's normal. So when you're an ascended being or whatever, enlightened, you end up being able to have a state of no mind or no thought. So, I achieved that a while ago. And I'm only mentioning it for a reason. So when you have no thought, I could go for as long as I want without thinking. And then when I have a thought, it rises up and goes away. And anyway, so it's like a blank slate. Not to say that I don't have thoughts. I could have thoughts. I could have a continuous stream of thought for as long as I want. If I let it go, I'll just be like, la, 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 thinking thoughts, I guess, all the time. But when I want to, I just stop having thoughts. That's through meditation and everything else. You learn to control it. Now, when you get to a point, just to explain, where you get to no thought and no mind, so then you're a blank slate, then you start to, I don't want to say hear, but you start to feel and other kind of emanations, other thoughts. And it kind of like where before you couldn't even hear it, now all of a sudden they're pretty loud, some of them, and some of them not. And you're like, wait, these aren't my thoughts. These are extraneous thoughts. This is kind of strange. So, and for one instance, you could say, gee, some of this you'd say this is like a galactic council. This is like now all of a sudden you're kind of invited into, kind of a group, and then, your input gets whatever, and, things happen. So ends up being that, after a while, and, if you're, a reputable person, you kind of move up the ladder, and then you kind of get ideas, permeate. And again, this is all in my own mind, so you could say I'm crazy, whatever. But then you start saying, you get kind of like a beep beep, not even a beep, but it just like you get a certain idea, thought form, and then it happens, and they say, hey, would you mind if we traveled through your sun into your solar system? And I'm like, well, if you're in V-shaped craft, to show it's for Victor, and and you have a like conversation like that, and it's like a formal request, and I talk about it on my channel. And then a month later, V-shaped craft are shown, leaving the sun from another channel on YouTube. And then, so things like that happen. So then you get like a request like, I'm just really, upset about Ukraine and everything else going on. And you get a beep beep. And it's like, hey, do you want us to intervene? And I'm like, no. And then, you kind of you could request them and say, hey, you know what? Once they bombed that hospital, that kind of upset me even more. And I said, you know what, maybe you can intervene somewhat over the skies of Ukraine, right? So that's what happens. And then so I said, yeah, go do something, and I mentioned I would say something like that before on my channel. So sure enough, the other day, after that quote unquote UFO or a light craft or whatever, they don't know, was over Ukraine and shot down, I don't know if it was a Russian MiG or a Russian fighter. I don't know if the word shot down makes sense, but it took it out. I know of one instance. I didn't ask, and I'm not really interested, but it could be more. So you got that going on. So we have, and I said this on my channel. Don't push it. Don't push it. I put out a warning. Hey, don't push it. And they first of all, they're looking for these interdimensional whatever. I don't even know. All I know is it's just a bad situation over there. I want it to be better now, and that's about it. I don't think they're doing anything else, but they wanted permission to help out. If there's help needed, they'll do it. And I said they could turn off nuclear weapons in their silos and everything else if they want to, but they are very respectful and this and that. So permission was granted, and that's what's going on right now. And you might see more of it, so I thought I'd make this video. Now, a lot is going on. Watching Jacob Israel's video last night where he, took on Pastor Kim, and I really like, both those guys. They're kind of interesting, and I didn't unsubscribe to anybody. But I do think that people are different, men and women, and if the Bible says originally, before any changes, that there shouldn't be, women shouldn't be leading a congregation, basically, then they shouldn't, men or women are just built differently, and not, now it gets complicated. So at the final, judgment, at the final, when everybody, let's say, quote unquote, goes to heaven, they're not so different. Right? Everybody's not different. So when you don't have a body, you're not different. But when you're in a body, you're different. And God doesn't have a gender, and so it gets complicated. Okay, but in essence, men have different energy bodies, different energy signatures, and for some of the energies that are quote unquote running through the bodies, it's better for a male to be in charge of the congregation. Now, not to say that women can't preach, women can't say certain things, women can't tell the truth, but the way it was set up originally is the way it's set up. I don't like that, all the men switching and saying, "Oh, I'm a woman now," and then they're this, and then they're competing in sports and all this. So that all, and I think everybody pretty much agrees with me. But just thought I'd weighed in on the matter a little bit. A lot going on. There's a lot of things happening in science right now, which is off the hook. A lot of metamaterials being invented, a lot of things happening, and I really, I said probably too much already, so I'm going to go in a second, but thanks so much, for, watching the show. Hopefully you just take this with a grain of salt, and everything's obviously for entertainment purposes only and not to scare you. But I want everybody to be positive in your life. Don't worry. A lot of things are shown, I think, to us for a reason, to see certain things and certain changes, so you detach from that and say, I don't have to worry so much about it because it's almost like it's fake. But there's a lot of stuff going on, especially with CERN and quantum computers at the quantum level. A lot of things have changed in that, from that micro that goes to macro, and a lot of things have changed in that respect. Maybe I'll go into that in another video some other time. let me know what you think in the comments, and you know, keep the positive comments coming. If you want to say something constructive, that's great. I have people that, you know, troll me all the time, and I understand. Probably I just sound like a weirdo, which I sound like a weirdo if I think about it to myself. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. Like, subscribe, share. Bye-bye.